All right, we have a 49ers update. Kyle Shanahan just got done with his post-game press conference call, and this was actually the first time all season. So good news, 49ers off to a good start. They don't have any serious injuries coming out of this game against the Raiders, and that's always what you want to hear every week, but especially in the preseason. In fact, they have a bunch of players that will be returning this week. Robert Beal Jr., he was back for part of practice, at least for the individual drills against the Raiders, but he should be a full go this week. That's the rookie defensive end out of Georgia. Kalia Davis, second-year defensive tackle. He'll be back in action. So will Dre Greenlaw. So will Danny Gray, who was just a little bit sore the past couple days. So will Drake Jackson. There was some hand-wringing over his hamstring injury, but he should be back. And so will Elijah Mitchell, right on target in that week to week and a half return from the adductor tear that he suffered just about a week and a half ago. So those will be the practice returns for the 49ers this week. The week after that, George Kittle should return from his adductor injury, an adductor strain. So they were saying it was a little bit like Elijah Mitchell's injury. The 49ers do have some players who are done for the preseason. That's George Odom, the safety. He's got a shoulder injury. And Oren Burks, who's got a sprained PCL. They say that happened in the collision. It was Oren Burks, Devontae Adams, and Charvarius Ward on the big hit against Charvarius Ward on the big hit against Devontae Adams at the start of practice against the Raiders. So both of these guys are done for the preseason, but the 49ers are very hopeful and optimistic that they will be back for week one. Burks, of course, is a linebacker. We've talked a little bit about him for a potential trade. This probably would make a trade less likely, although he's a known commodity. So maybe the 49ers still, if they do have a linebacker surplus at the deadline, would be able to move Oren Burks. He has a $2.5 million potential cap relief bill if the 49ers are able to trade him. I always talk about it because, as you can see here, that linebacker position is brimming with talent. There's D. Winters, Jalen Graham. I'm about to move D. Winters into my 53-man projection. Why don't we do that right now? Winters, make that size 11. Paint it yellow because he's a rookie, and then we can move Kiava to Zeno. Reuben Foster's former teammate from the USFL, up one spot right here. But anyway, my main point is when you look at the linebacker room, there is a lot of talent. Oren Burks will miss the next couple of weeks. That's going to give guys like D. Winters and Jalen Graham an opportunity to even more playing time, and the 49ers might have to get creative with some of the roster shuffling there. Existing injury, the one we already knew about, Ray McCloud, broken wrist. They were saying 8 weeks a week ago, so that would mean 7 weeks from now, which would bleed into the regular season. Shanahan said that a week one return for Ray is unlikely, but he also says that Ray keeps on telling him, don't count me out for week one. So that means the 49ers may not have to put McCloud on injured reserve. We had always figured they would not put him on IR until after the cut down, so he wouldn't be done for the season. That way, IR can only be 4 weeks long if McCloud goes on the list after the 53-man cut down. But if he's set to be back maybe in week 2 or even week 3, the 49ers might not want to put him on injured reserve since you have to miss a minimum of 4 weeks if you're placed there at the start of the regular season. So I think, just based on this talk, based on what Shanahan said, there's a chance that Ray McCloud is back sooner rather than later. Obviously, Ray used to play for Pittsburgh, and that's who the 49ers play in the season opener. So I think there's some motivation for him to go up against his former team. Trey Lance, Kyle Shanahan also talked about him. He said that his evaluation was exactly what ours was, that Trey Lance played better as his outing progressed. And Kyle Shanahan said that half the sacks were on Trey Lance and half the sacks were on the offensive line. It was exactly really what we had talked about. There's fault to go both ways. And I think within each play and each of the 4 sacks, there's probably a varying degree of blame to go to each side. Football is not a simple sport. A lot has to happen. And Shanahan explained that some of the routes run by the receivers weren't exactly what they should have been on the first sack, which was a 3-step drop. Lance actually made a good decision not to throw the ball immediately to his first read because it could have been a pick. And then when he tried to go scan the field for his second read, the receiver wasn't where he was supposed to be. And by that time, Nick Zakelj got backed into Trey Lance. There was a sack. So either way, it wasn't a good outing for Trey Lance. He has to be better. He has to be steadier. But the 49ers offensive line also has to be better. Shanahan said that the second 2 sacks happened because Trey Lance didn't get rid of the ball quickly enough. We all saw with our own eyes that it was not a pretty outing, but we also heard Kyle Shanahan's explanation for it today. And I think, we talk about the fact that Trey made his first start coming off of the injury. The ankle injury happened about a year ago. It's going to take him It's going to take him a while to get some just comfort back under his feet, right? And he doesn't have a whole lot of time to get comfort back under his feet because once the regular season starts, Brock Purdy has deserved all of the playing time. So Lance has got to take advantage of the playing time that he has now, which is the next 2 weeks of the preseason. And it looks like the 49ers are optimistic that he will be able to get more comfortable, improve his play. They're keeping optionality open at the quarterback position. That's the best they can do. There is no reason to freak out after one preseason game. You just have to roll with the punches, see what you have when the dust settles. And that dust is going to have to settle about 2 weeks from now on August 29th, because that's when the 49ers are going to have to make some tough roster decisions. So anyway, as a summary, these are the returns of the practice. These 6 players this week: Beal, Kalia Davis, Greenlaw, Gray, Jackson, and Elijah Mitchell. Be nice to see Elijah back out there. 49ers will knock on wood to hope that he stays healthy. Injuries obviously have been a big issue for him. No rush to get George Kittle back from the adductor injury. They expect him next week. Odom, Burke's done for the preseason. So is Ray McCloud, who's probably done for longer than that, but there is a chance he is back on week 1. That was Kyle Shanahan's press conference today. We'll have all of that ready for you, uploaded soon so you can listen to the whole thing. Always a good, succinct summary from Kyle Shanahan. All right, everybody, thank you. We'll be back with a little bit more about the head home from Vegas. It was a good few days here. We'll see you all soon. Take care.